Okay, so next we will look at newsletter campaigns. And when you look at this page for the very first time, it will be just as empty as this one here, right? But don't worry, we will create our first campaign in just a second. However, before doing so, let's look here at this also, tracking options. So what is that? So first of all, you see both at the moment are deactivated and can be activated. So should you do that? What is it? Okay, let's see. So when you are a customer of Maildroppa, you will probably send more than just one newsletter campaign, right? And of course, your goal is in the end to make a sale out of your subscribers, right? And so you want to improve like the number of people that open your emails, and you want to improve also the number of people that click on your emails. And these two figures are really good indicators how good your email was received, right? And however, if you don't track that, you cannot improve because you don't have the numbers. So that's why you may want to activate that. But wait a second, not so fast. Why did we then not activate it by default? The thing is, well, first of all, some customers might perceive that as not so nice to track them, because they can actually see that if they know how to. And second, some of our customers might not want to use that technique, right? And last but not least, there is, I think, since 2018, there was a law introduced in Europe, the GDPR, and that really gives very clear rules and laws on what is allowed and what is not, right? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but in very simple terms, I would define it as pretty much everything is allowed as long as you tell your customers upfront. And for this, we have here the marketing permissions. So you may want to go there before. There you can activate, and it's activated also by default that when someone signs up on your forms, that before the subscription is finished, they have to check that they are aware that you take their data. And you may want to add, of course, that you are tracking their opens and clicks when you send them emails. And when you do that, even if your company is located in Europe, you should be perfectly fine to activate that both, right? You just have to tell your customers. And if you are in a different country, then most probably you are fine anyway, right? But this is totally up to you. Are you allowed to do that? And do you want to do it, right? And if so, then you can activate one or both, whatever you like, right? So for the purpose of this video here, I will activate both, because this has an influence. Once we have sent out a campaign, it will take a while until the emails are received. But when they are, then over time we will create a report and we will show you how many times the email was opened and so forth and so on, right? But only when you activate that, right? Otherwise we cannot show you. Okay, so now with this activated, let's create our first campaign. So currently you see we have 2 subscribers, right? Yeah, not much, but it's just a test. You further see that the sender name is Markus Biel. The sender email is support@maildroppa.com, right? And the email subject we still have to fill, and so forth and so on. So before I continue, first of all, let's spend some time on sender name and sender email. That's actually quite important. So here I have put Markus Biel, but actually the default is something else. The default is whatever email you used to sign up with Maildroppa will be the sender name. And since you have not verified that you are the owner of the domain of this email, we are not allowed to send emails with this domain, with this email address. And that's why by default, we will, instead of using your email address, we will be using a technical email address of Maildroppa, and your email will be put as the reply to field, so that people receiving your newsletter, when they reply, they can still send an email to you, but technically it is sent over the Maildroppa platform. And for marketing reasons, right, for branding reasons, you most probably want to change that. So that's why you should go to email address. There you can change your sender name, and assuming that you have an email address where you own the domain, like in the case of Maildroppa, we own the domain, right? And then you can verify with some technical steps that we will talk when we talk about the email address. You can ensure that you use your email address. Okay. So with this said, let's also look at all the other options. So here, by the way, you can choose not to send to all the subscribers, but to, for example, certain segments. Again, segments we have created beforehand. You can create them here. So in this case, I think that would also be sent to 2 subscribers because our filter was set so. But I mean, here the idea is, for example, let's assume you have a course and you only want to send an email to those that have done the course or have not done the course, right? So this is what segments stored filters are for. Alternatively, you could also, like on the fly, say, I want to send an email to all those subscribers that I tagged as being beginners, right? Because that kind of segmentation is what makes email marketing really effective. Because of course, if you have a large list and there are beginners and advanced and experts of your whatever topic, then of course it makes a difference when you're just sending an email to the beginners and you can totally focus on them, and you tell them something like how hard it is to start. While when you write to the experts, you might want to tell them about very advanced techniques, right? So this is email segmentation, very powerful, make use of it. Alternatively, you can also choose to create a filter on the fly. And that can also actually even use a segment, right? So you can create filters based out of segments. Yeah, so you could say here, send an email to the course segment. As I said, in this case, that wouldn't actually, in our case, not make a difference. And alternatively, you could also say, for example, just send an email to the beginner. Yeah, and here you see that would just be 1 subscriber. And the cool thing is even you can, combine that, like to say, send an email to all the beginners and, for example, advanced. Now this will be difficult because they are either advanced or a beginner, right? So there is probably where the or here makes more sense. So we would say a tag contains, and here advanced, and now we have 2 subscribers, right? So you can combine this really nicely with even also subscriber fields. You could say, you could say their first name has to be this, or you could say their birth date. Oops, let me do it again. Their birth date has to be like, I don't know, that date. So this is really powerful, right? Of course, we don't have a subscriber with a birth date of this date, so this doesn't change. But again, I hope you get the idea. Okay, cool. So these are filters, and these are the segments and tags that you can use directly without even having to go there. Now, we have to write, of course, our email. You could put here, hi, how are you? And of course, keep in mind, this will not be the perfect email. This is just for demonstration purposes. And now you may want to, address your customers with their name. And this is here what the ASCII fields are for. So you can say, hi, first name, and sorry for all that technical details, but we made it as simple as possible for you by using that drop down. And you can also, add their last name, if you have configured that as a subscriber field in advance. And pretty much all the fields that are there, you can reference here, right? Like this. So let's say, hi, first name, last name, how are you? And let's keep it really short. Cheers, Marcus. Okay, so, and you can, of course, style your email. I usually try to not style it too much because, not all customers may like that. And second, the more you make your email really complicated and really styled with lots of HTML, that can really have a negative impact on your delivery rate, right? Okay, but anyway, that's up to you. Now what else can we do? Well, we can choose between sending it now or scheduling it, sending a test email or saving it. So when you want to save it, you can keep this as a draft. So let's start with the most simple one now. And now later you can come back and then either, change your mind and delete it, or you look at the campaign again and you can continue. So now let's say we're fine. I recommend you highly to start with a test email, right? So let's click here first. Okay, so actually, now instead of sending the email, something else happened. So what did happen? Well, the thing is, since we started on Maildroppa, we haven't filled out any details besides confirming our email address. But to be able to also send out emails, there is one more legal requirement, and that is we have to give our name or the company name as well as the address. And it has to be the correct one. Please make sure, because we will check that, because otherwise we cannot let you send emails. Because, of course, again, for spam protection laws, we have to ensure that you're using your real address, and we will put the address on the footer of the email, right? So the address of Maildroppa is this, right? So, and we are located in Germany. Okay, so submit. Postal address has been successfully updated. That's good. So now let's try again. And now I can type in any email I like to test the newsletter. And that's what I would tell you. Please do that, because only then you will have the final result. Is this really good? Is this really looking the way I want? And are all the emails, all the links working? So let's do a test. Okay, so now that the test has been sent, we would have to go to our email and check it. I will assume now for this purpose everything went fine. So now let's send an email, but instead let's schedule it. That means sending it in the future, right? So let's assume I want to send it on Tuesday, the 16th, and I want to send it at, let's say, 7 p.m., right? That might be a good time. So I've scheduled it now, and so I confirm that. Okay, so you see here it is scheduled for August 16th for 7 p.m. UTC. Okay, so if you like that, it's fine. If not, you can reschedule it, meaning you can change the time. For example, now I make up my mind and I say, 8:20, and there it is. You could also, unschedule it. So now it's still a draft again. You could, of course, also delete it, or we go back and send it directly now, okay? So now let's directly send it this time. And the campaign has been sent out. This is still processing. And after a while, this will take a while, so we will have to stop the video for a while. You will see how the email was received, right? Okay, so let's see you in a bit. Okay, so now after a while, all emails have been sent and have been received. To the two recipients that we used, we have a delivery rate of 100%, an open rate also of 100%, so that's like a dream come true. And we have a click rate of only 0%. Why? Well, because we forgot to put a link in the email, so nothing can be clicked. Keep in mind both these values. In our case, of course, only the open rate. They are available because we activated open tracking and click tracking beforehand. And now we can also go to view report. This is quite nice, especially so when you send to many subscribers, of course. So in our case, it's not so exciting. We have delivered to 2 people. They were not delayed, no rejected, nothing, all good. The open rate also has some more details, because actually to ensure that you can see the open rate, we put 2 tracking pixels in each email, one at the top and one of the in the bottom of the email. And now if you write a very long email, for instance, and not both pixels are loaded instantly, it can happen that you have to scroll and only then the pixel is loaded. That could indicate that, if people are not reading your email entirely, that the button opens are lower than the top opens. Okay, but this of course is a bit depending on the email client used and how it behaves. Yeah, and then we have a total open rate. This in our case is even 300%, which means that each of the two recipients opened the email 3 times, right? So yeah, seems like your message was received. Okay, so that was the open rate. Click rate here is all empty, but you will see also we have a unique clicks, total clicks, and the click to open rate, so that for those that open it, how high is the percentage rate of how many people clicked here, right? Quite interesting. And sometimes if there are problems, like maybe the quality of your email list is not so good, then there might be a bounce rate, and then you can find here some technical reasons of why it bounced. So when in doubt, you can reach out to us, but we also have a very nice support article on the topic where we explain each and every item here. Spam report rate was 0, that is very good, and unsubscription rate was also 0, right? But yeah, so this is the report. I think it's very helpful. You can also go here to view the campaign again, so you see that was the email that we sent, there was no link, yeah, and we said hi, first name, last name. Okay, so if you like, you can save it as a draft and then send a similar email again, right? Okay, I think that pretty much sums it up. Above here, we didn't talk about that yet, but I guess it's clear. You can search for a certain campaign, but if you just have one, you might not want to search for it, right? Okay, that's it. Thanks.